While the war in Gaza rages on, many black Americans are wondering what's going on with black independent media. You seem to be so focused on Palestinians and the Gaza war, you're not even talking about black folks like that. So in this video, we're going to unpack it, take a look at it, and then say the truth, the real thing as we call it out, right here on Calling It Out with Tim Black. So I put out a social media post on Twitter. It was dope. People reacted. Here it is. The war in Gaza has highlighted the disparity in black independent media. They're more vocal for Palestinians than for black Americans in their own states. Then I put together this image to give it some more context. People are dying, Darren. I know. But people are dying in Baltimore every day. And that's pretty much the sentiment that we're getting across the board from black folks. Now just remember, when you say, Tim Black, I don't like your attitude. Tim Black, I don't like the way you're putting this. We got bandwidth to love everybody. Recognize that I'm not just saying this for me. I'm saying it for all the people that frequent my channel, all the people that I've been talking to on the internet, black folks that care about black issues, they've been saying this. So coming at me with razor blades and lemonade or hot sauce ain't gonna change the fact that a lot of black people are thinking this. And if you want to say some garbage out your mouth that black people just don't get it, we don't know what's going on, I think you don't understand black people. You don't understand America. And there were a whole heap of white people saying the same thing about Ukraine. So I think you need to check your own self-hate, brother or sister. Because that's like a running narrative that black people say whenever black people push back against something that disagrees with the elite blacks. When the working class blacks push back on the elite blacks, they say, we stupid, we dumb, we don't know what's going on. We need to become more educated. That's how y'all asses got Trump, too. But anyway, I digress. Back to my point. Is it true or is it not? That should be the question you ask yourself. That's the question I'm asking with this video. Is it true that independent media or black media is over-focusing on Palestinians in Gaza? Just a question. Why are you so upset? Hit home, don't it? Hitting home on your ass, don't it? Uh-huh. Now, I'm not talking about everybody that covers Gaza and covers Palestinians. My thing is for the people that don't cover black issues enough, who are black, who want to be the black face in the black space, or in the white space, a black face in the white space, acting as if and giving people the impression that since you are black, you cover black stuff or that you the black voice, when in reality, you don't talk about black issues. You spend all your time talking about something else. And now you running way up the hill, fighting with people online, over-dramatizing for Palestinians in Gaza. You could care less about what's going on in Pennsylvania. Care less about what's going on in Tennessee. You could give a damn about what's going on in Illinois. If you're not recognizing that black people are catching hell in this country and states and cities all across the country, but you are quick to jump on the Palestinian thing, recognize that some of us recognize what you're doing. See, here's the deal, guys, man. There's a lot of money floating around right now. And the money's with the Palestinian movement. The money's on that side of the ball. Now, there was a lot of money floating around with Trump, and I think the Trump money's always going to be there. But let's not underestimate the amount of money that's flowing around for the Palestinian coverage. Here's the problem with that, and this is why I covered it. Don't get me twisted. I covered it because I'll cover a story like what's happening in Gaza. And of course, I'm on the side of supporting the Palestinians because they're not the ones with the bombs and the backing of the U.S. government with the artillery and the ammunition and all the technological advanced warfare that America and the rest of NATO has been able to supply Israel with. So yes, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stay on it forever because there are other issues to get to. And unlike some, I'm not trying to milk that cow. Say they're milking that cow and I got other cows to tend to when I have other issues I need to tend to. And I'm not seeing that same thing play out with a lot of black media. Now, media in general, I'm expecting anything of them. But if you got black in your name, black in your title, and you don't cover black issues, or just the fact that you have a black face, some people want to say that's enough to say this person represents black people. But time and time again, I see them throwing black people under the bus when it becomes expedient for their progressive audience or their liberal audience or what have you. So once again, I'm asking you, is there a disparity between the amount of passion that people exhibit for Palestinians in this time compared to what they exhibit or what they display for black Americans in Tennessee, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. I'm just saying, I notice it. It's very obvious. Now, don't get it twisted. There are some people who ride or die, okay? I'm not talking about everybody who's ever did something, who's ever covered an issue. I've seen others ride or die on all issues or issues pertaining to the black community and take hits behind that. But if you're not taking hits behind Daryl, Deron, Felicia, Sharonda, but you're taking hits behind Palestinians all day, every day, recognizing some of us understand what that is, and what that is a play, okay? And it's pathetic is what it is. It's a betrayal. And I understand that there are going to be progressives, particularly white progressives. There are going to be black progressives who are upset because they know I'm talking about them. Now, I haven't said their names, but they're going to know I'm talking about them because if the shoe fits, wear it. That ain't my fault that it fits you. It fits you, it just fits you. I hit dog hollers. Whatever, however you want to put it. And there's going to be white liberals who are upset because they don't like me being right about this, because it's their agenda. It's sort of like when I was pointing out back in the day when I would cover Julian Assange, because Julian Assange, I felt, was being persecuted for blowing the whistle on the American government. I still feel that way. And I support Julian Assange being freed and charges dropped that America has waiting on him. But what I noticed was they didn't care when I talked about other things that would happen to black folks. These particular people loved it when I talked about Julian, but they didn't care when I talked about Daquan. They didn't care when I talked about Sharonda. They didn't care when I talked about Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Tatiana Jefferson. They weren't riding for Sandra Bland, Quan McDonald, Freddie Gray. The names go on and on and on. The problem is, see, I have a thing called ethics, and I also have a thing called I love my people. And I can't sit back and be used as a token like that where you want me to drag me out when it's time to talk about Julian Assange, but when it's time to talk about Laquan McDonald, you guys go quiet. And we start adding up the numbers. It's a lot of numbers of black folks gone missing. What's happening to our sisters and brothers, how our women are dying, how our kids are dying, how we treated in the schools, the racial wealth gap that puts us in a situation where we always behind the eight ball. So these things we have to cover, and I got to call it out, man. It's not that I'm not saying we don't care about other people dying. We do care about people dying. But when people going to care about us, and if we don't start to care about ourselves, what incentive do they have to care about us? So that's why I'm pointing this out. That's why this is becoming an issue. That's why I made that post. If you got a problem with that post, that's going to have to just be your problem. Okay? But just recognize your problem is not just with me. Your problem is with the black community that are vocal, who are not hypnotized by the Democratic Party. See, some of you folks tend to believe that the Republicans are the enemy of all black people. They're the enemy of all people, okay? Just because some white people think the Republicans are on their side, that's not my fault. And some of you liberals and some of you Democrats think that the Democratic Party is on your side when they're not. Because they're both corporate parties. And they both benefit from the same things. They both benefit from war. They both have stock options in Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. I'm not saying I disapprove of people talking about Gaza, talking about the war, talking about Palestinians. I'm cool with that. My thing is, why aren't you talking the same way about black folks? Black folks are catching hell in this country. Our racial wealth gap needs to be closed. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Some of y'all ain't squeak at all for black folks, but you're over there just constantly squeaking for Palestinians. Squeaking for transgender. Squeaking for the LGBTQ. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you need to also squeak over here. Let's squeak for our people. And what I'm saying is there are corporate incentives, there are advocacy incentives, there are big pockets that are throwing money at folks to squeak. And I know that's what's happening, and we can see through you. And some of us understand the game, we know how the game is played, and we know that you're playing games. Don't misconstrue my words. I know you got a problem with me calling you out about Gaza. Let's be clear, man, one more time. I ain't got a problem with you supporting Gaza. I don't got a problem with you supporting Palestinians. What I got a problem is you ain't supporting black folks to the same extent. So amplify that a little bit. Say that with your chest. I shouldn't be the only person who was left independent media holding it down for black folks, talking about Eric Garner, talking about George Floyd, talking about Tatiana Jefferson, talking about the string of black folks killed. I should not be the only person, the only black independent media in this political space, and you know what I'm talking about, who was willing to put it on the line for black folks, who called Bernie Sanders out when he wasn't supporting reparations, who knew he had something to lose but did it anyway because that's what time it is. That's how real you gotta be, while y'all was all quiet. So at the end of the day, this is where we at. This is what we on. We on this. So it's not about saying, no, you can't talk about Gaza. You can't talk about Palestinians. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just stop acting like you're a real one. Because if you ain't riding for black folks in the condition that we are in this country, where we're facing, what my kids are facing, what my grandkids are facing, if you ain't talking about that, but you got all the smoke for Julian Assange, you got all the talk for Edward Snowden, you got all the talk for Ukrainians, you got all the talk for Palestinians, but no talk for folks over in Philly, folks over in Memphis, folks over in Alabama, folks over in the Carolinas, folks right here in Maryland, Baltimore. You ain't got no smoke to defend us, to fight for us, to stand up for us, then I'm gonna call you void, bogus, phony, a fake, a flake, a hack. You can say it's hate, you can say whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, it's a new day. My name is Tim Black, and this has been another edition of Calling It Out.
Hello, fam. We hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Calling It Out with Tim Black, where we bring you more bold coverage on politics, culture, and news. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. It's a new day.